The world's largest known oil reserves outside of Saudi Arabia are found in the Canadian oil sands located near Fort McMurray in northern Alberta. Located in the very heart of this massive energy development is Hammerstone Corporation, a mining company owned by the Brookfield Special Situations Group. With 1 billion tons of mineable reserves, Hammerstone produces high-quality limestone aggregates that are central for the energy company's ability to tap the vast oil reserves within the region.
In order for the energy companies to build out their multi-billion-dollar projects, they need aggregates, whether for roads, whether for runways, whether for plant pads, and other related infrastructure.
If you add up all the aggregates required for the roughly $200 billion worth of projects that are in the books in the oil sands, you're going to come up with a number, and we've done lots of work on this with the help of Brookfield. You're going to come up with a number of about 1 billion tons are going to be required in order to build and maintain those projects over the next 50 years. In terms of sources of aggregates, if you add up all of the alluvial gravel sources in the region, you're going to come up with a number of around 150 million tons. And frankly, only about half of that is commercially available because the other half is dedicated to and owned by specific oil sands companies. So you've got a fundamental supply and demand imbalance there that frankly only our 1 billion tons of limestone can solve.
In addition to the resource and the 1 billion ton estimate, which we validated in our due diligence, one of the appealing aspects was that the site was developed. And this requires significant time and significant consultation from an environmental First Nations perspective, as well as capital. And over $100 million have been spent on developing out this mine site.
Our global energy business is centered here in Calgary, and we have deep relationships throughout the energy complex here, both on the services side and on the producer side. And we had been looking for an opportunity to make an investment in the oil sands for a few years prior to our involvement in the predecessor company to Hammerstone. Given our depth in the market, we were approached by them to provide some capital for their project. They had put together a world-class land package in the region. There's over 700,000 contiguous acres of mineral rights, so that includes limestone, it includes all other minerals under the oil sands other than the natural gas and the bitumen. So the company had done some very positive things in putting that package together. Unfortunately, they were unable to transition from being an exploration company to being a production company. And I think this is the trap that they had fallen into. We had provided them with what we believe was sufficient capital through a convertible debenture to get the project up and running. Unfortunately, they were unable to capitalize on that opportunity and ultimately fell into receivership. We then purchased the assets out of receivership and started to implement a restructuring plan on the company.
When I came in, the predecessor business was in such a state that we really had to rebuild the business from the ground up. We had to rebuild the core management team. We had to refocus on health, safety, and environmental matters. We had to fundamentally realign the cost structure of the business. We had to rebuild our relationships with our key stakeholders, our customers, our suppliers, the First Nation groups, and we had to get some revenue in the door. So our job really was to build a foundation to try to unlock the significant inherent value in those underlying assets. And Brookfield worked alongside us with the Hammerstone team to get that done. These guys really know how to roll their sleeves up and get the ball across the finish line. They're involved where they need to be involved, and they let management do their job where management should be doing their job. So it's a relationship that, having worked myself with other private equity firms, they know how to strike the right balance and get involved when they can really add value, but on the other hand, let management do their job too. I really admired the way Brookfield approached business. They have a unique way of looking at things just a little differently than everybody else. There's an element of contrarianism that they have in how they approach things, which is consistent with my mindset. And they just have a unique ability to sort of see what other people don't always see. So at Hammerstone, we've got the best of both worlds. We've got a lean, nimble, high-growth company, and yet we've got the backing of a multi-billion-dollar organization like Brookfield with great people and great experience within the mining sector.
I think having an energy business focused here in Canada, we understand the size and the scale of the development at the oil sands, so I think that was a positive. We also have very extensive mining experience within the Brookfield Group. We're the former owner of Noranda and Falconbridge, which we sold several years ago, but still retain a lot of the people that were running those companies in our world today. Also, we've been involved in some mining restructurings in the past. We involved in the restructuring of Westman Resources and of Northgate Minerals, were two other companies that we'd restructured. To use a Canadian term, Hammerstone is at center ice. Within a 40-mile radius of our project, there will be over $200 billion spent over the next 20 years developing projects and continuing to mine existing projects. So Hammerstone is very well situated for future development and growth.